Yeah, these. Okay. We're all right. Streaming and recording. We're ready. We're ready, Mr. Sherrod.
Okay. Get started. I want to welcome everybody to the regular July County Board of Education meeting. Before we get started, I want to read you the roll call first. We're going to do a roll call before we get started.
Ms. Farley? Here. Mr. Golden?
Here.
Mr. Heinzman?
Here.
Mr. Langdale?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Mr. Sherrod?
Here.
And Mr. Womack is not present.
I'd like to ask Mr. Heinzman to show us the order.
Lord, we love you, and Lord, we're so thankful for your love for us. It's undeserved, and more than we can even wrap our heads around. Lord, we're so thankful for that you would look upon us with eyes of mercy and grace. And God, we're especially thankful. What an opportunity we have as members of the Board of Education to serve others, and I pray that you'd find us faithful to do the right things. Lord, help us to be ever mindful that the decisions that we make impact the lives of others. Pray that you'd help us to keep our students and our teachers always at the forefront of our thoughts and decision making. Lord, we pray for our community and our state and our country and the health of it. God, we pray that you'd heal it. Lord, we thank you for your provision for us. We love you and thank you for Christ's name. Amen.
This time I'll turn the meeting over to the Superintendent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sherrod. Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone coming out this afternoon. We'll get directly into our agenda, and let me go back to a different screen here. Agenda item A is our minutes from our last meeting. I would ask that you approve our minutes, please.
I move we approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. We got to do a roll call. I'm used to this. I have a roll call.
Farley? Yes. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Heinzman?
Yes.
Mr. Langdale?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Sherrod?
Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Item B, I recognize Ms. Bishop and then ask for your approval of our monthly financial report.
Okay. For May 2020, unreserved fund balance was 2.379, and that includes the A&T money that we still have left. And without it, it's 2.28. And that 2.28 compares to 2.17 last year. So far this year, it's a good financial year. Now our revenue, our tax millage, we're down about $62,700. We're hoping it's just timing and that's going to continue to come in throughout the next 3 months. Sales tax it's only down $23,478. So that's good in light of the situation with the economy right now. And then county alcohol beverage tax is about the same as it was the same time last year. Our money market mutual fund are paying $132.17 this month. The rates are staying low. We're still coming out ahead with our fees, so we're going to leave it there. But we're just not earning a lot right now on that.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop.
Financials. So moved. Second. Motion is second. Motion to do roll call.
Ms. Larkin.
Yes.
Mr. Golden,
Yes.
Mr. Heinzman,
Yes.
Mr. Langdale,
Yes.
Mr. Payne,
Yes.
Mr. Sherry.
Yes. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Item C, I have a policy revision, and I would ask that y'all, when we consider this, we would waive our first reading of our policy, as this directly impacts our back-to-school plan. It's a policy revision concerning the Etowah County Virtual Academy, and you can find that in your packet. And I'm going to go over here and I'll go over it with you. Just tell you what we've changed, and I'll actually recognize Ms. Howell. She taking the lead on this, and I appreciate her work on this. So let me get over here on my right screen here. If you'll give me just a second. Well, it's gonna take me a second. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting there. I got it. We considered an addendum to our virtual policy. Previously, we had our virtual school policy covered grades 9 through 12 and 9 through 12 only. But with the ALSDE allowing us to use virtual curriculum across the board, we need to expand that policy. And this just makes our policy as consistent as it can be with what we're going to be offering our parents and students this year. And I'll go over this with you. Basically, the Etowah County Virtual Academy will allow students an opportunity to participate in a virtual school option for students in grades pre-K through 12. So that's the main change. We've expanded the grade offerings. Students must apply and be accepted to participate. Now, given the situation we're in, anyone that applies will be accepted into it. So we don't have necessarily, in the past, we had certain grade point averages, things like that, but any parent that opts to do it, we're going to allow them that opportunity to do that. So item 1 of this says the Etowah County Board of Education has created a virtual pathway or virtual education option be offered on a full-time basis for students in pre-K through 12 with the attendance area served by the ECBOE. Program shall be known as the Etowah County Virtual Academy. Item 2, virtual students must abide by the Etowah County Board of Education policies. Each student, parent, or guardian must agree to follow the Etowah County Virtual Academic Integrity Contract. So we've got a application they'll fill out, and some guidelines there. And the last part of it, superintendents create guidelines for enrollment participation for students choosing this option consistent with the legislative act, and it cites that, or any subsequent legislation, etc. Now, within that item 3, and it's not going to necessarily be a policy per se, but one of the guidelines is going to be what we will be their 9-week option. So if a parent chooses to go into this program, a student, they're committed to it for a 9-week grading period, and then you can obviously rethink that at that end of time. So that will allow that an option for them. And and also as part of this, since this is all so new, actually in our plan, I'm going to discuss a little bit later. We're going to our students that go into this, we're going to give them basically a trial period in this. So if they don't like it, they can come back out just at the beginning of school. But after that period, it's all 9 weeks at a time. So to give us a better option on planning and personnel and all that. But Ms. Scott, we talked about that. What was our trial period, our trial run period on that? Yeah, about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
We were thinking about those families that were concerned about sending their children back to school, but sometimes for early childhood, education, it's very difficult for them to do online learning. So we wanted to give them an opt-out. If they signed up for virtual and saw that this wasn't working for them, that they would not have to commit for the whole entire first 9 weeks of school. If something changes, or they decided to try to come back to traditional, or it wasn't working for the child, we didn't want them to make a decision and then be stuck with that decision for the first 9 weeks. We're offering pre-K. And we are going to be getting some additional guidelines from the Department of Early Childhood very soon. So that's why pre-K was added to that too.
So we're going to allow a little grace period at the start, and then once we pass that August 28th, and that way we're going in 9-week increments of time so that we have some consistency throughout the school year. But that will be, within that, I don't have that as a separate policy. That's just going to be a procedure that we'll follow given the pandemic that we have this year.
Is there a limitation on the number of pre-K students?
Well, typically in the classroom, we choose 16 to 18, depending on our special needs population. So yes, we're limited, in that realm. But in the virtual academy, we will still be limited as well.
We still have to maintain a class roster of 18. So even if those students choose virtual, we still will only have 18 as it stands right now. I have contacted the Department of Early Childhood and asked them about this, and they have shared with me that they will be sending me some additional guidelines that they are being developed right now. So as of right now, it still would only allow 18 in our pre-K classrooms. And the remote learning will be much like it was in the spring, as far as what we understand at this particular point in time. But that could change just like anything we do.
Everything's fluid. What about when kids get sick, just regular sick, or maybe COVID sick?
Yeah.
But do they go out to this, or do they just follow the normal sick child protocol like last year?
Yeah, well, they're going to go. Well, that'll be one of our options on here. So if they're sick, they won't necessarily go into the virtual program, but they're going to go into an online platform, associated with the classroom they're in. And when they're symptom free, when they're back, they have the they go back to the classroom. Correct. So that's sort of our. I think we're calling that's actually our blended or hybrid model, I believe.
This revision, is this for the upcoming school year, or will it be?
Well, for right now, yes, sir. It is. The curriculum that the State Department has purchased is all encompassing. So, we obviously post-pandemic, when we get there, we can reevaluate whether we want to keep a pre-K through 12 curriculum in place. That's something we'll evaluate at that time. But this is something really more as a reaction to what we have this year, and then we can look at it long-term later on.
This is part of our ADM.
Yes, sir. That would count part of our ADM. That was my understanding from the State Department, and we'll keep them, enrolled in our schools.
Just put in a local language first reading.
Your policy require 2 readings?
Typically, we do 2 readings, but obviously, we're still under the emergency powers.
Emergency power,
Yeah.
and I advise you to go ahead and proceed with it based on the order, the first order in by Governor.
So I'd ask that y'all would approve our virtual academy, and we can get that rolled out.
Move we approve.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Hanson?
Yes.
Mr. Langdale?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
And Mr. Sherrod?
Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Item D, I'd ask that you approve a purchase, school blocks, it's website purchase. Basically, it will not be this school year. It will be for the 21-22 school year, but we want to go ahead. It's already budgeted. I want to go ahead and purchase it. So as we go out throughout the school year, we can begin a transition, but it's nothing that we're going to be doing in the short term. We're just going to be purchasing the rights to it. But it is the school blocks is to basically change our website from our current provider to a new provider. And again, this is not something we're just going to purchase it at this point. We'll implement later on down the line. So I'd ask your approval for us to purchase that, please, and begin that process at a later date of going to a new website.
Approved. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Farley? Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Mr. Hanson?
Yes.
Mr. Langdale,
Yes.
Mr. Payne,
Yes.
and Mr. Sheridan.
Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Item E, personnel, beginning with page number 2, item 1 through number 13. And then page number 3, we have some substitute teachers on there. And then page 15, or excuse me, number 15 is some reassignment of employees does not require board action, just within a school. And then page 4, we have some additional personnel items, number 16, 17, and 18, that I would ask for your approval on as a whole, please.
Second. We got a motion and a second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Golden,
Yes.
Mr. Heinzman,
Yes.
Mr. Langdale,
Yes.
Mr. Payne,
Yes.
Mr. Sheridan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, I want to have an information item that I want to talk about. I'm going to pass out and talk about our reopening plan if I can. And should be enough copies for everyone. If there's not, I can get another copy. And I'll kind of go over this and we can talk through some of our points on here, and I'll kind of tell you what we're going to roll out here the next few days. Okay, this is our short version of Etowah County Schools reopening plan. First of all, I want to say thank you to some of our central office staff, Ms. Howell, Ms. Parker, and Ms. Scott, and Ms. Gray. They're all in here, and then also many others as well. I won't name everyone, but they have all poured a lot of time into this. Now, first of all, this is the short version. This is what I plan to release tomorrow. And then we're going to release a longer version, hopefully by Friday, that has more detail. This got some detail, but not, in depth on a lot of things. But it covers a lot of things that we want to do and reopen our schools. It really takes on two parts. It takes on an academic part, and it takes on an operations part for our traditional schooling. As far as the academic side, I'm proposing 2 instructional delivery models: traditional and an online. Of course, we've already talked about the online version. Traditional is, and it says it well here, all students, all teachers, all day face-to-face instruction. And so that's where we would go with that. And we'll talk about the guidelines on that on the second page. And then the virtual academy, which would be delivered through Schools PLP, which is a delivery option from the LSDE pre-K through 12th, which you just voted on. Access will also be a provider on that as well for some of our high school curriculum, but there is curriculum across the board. We'll talk a little about differentiating the teaching and learning. One thing I'd like to call your attention to is the Virtual Academy application. We have done one survey which indicated roughly 10% of our students preferred a virtual option, with several more undecided. We're closing that survey, and now we're going to open our Virtual Academy application, which you just approved, the Virtual Academy, for people to apply. And they can do that between when we release it in July the 23rd. Give about a 2-week window of time to apply for that. And then that will allow us, based on our responses there, to be able to plan personnel-wise for the students that will choose the virtual option. Now, they will, in this first initial go around here, have the option to opt out in late August if they prefer to. So we're going to give them that opportunity. But actually, that will be at 9-week increments after that point, when they can opt in, opt out. And the same goes with traditional. Someone may go to traditional school for 9 weeks and then decide, hey, I want to do virtual. But it's going to be a commitment.
So the 9 weeks starts after that 2 weeks, or is it
Well,
start when school starts?
I want to clarify that. It will start, since we're giving a grace period on that, I would say to the end of the 9-week grading period. Okay, let me clarify that, but so that we have a good jumping off point, so to speak. So, but July the 23rd is when we're asking for that back. Now, I have spoke, just today alone, I've spoken with 4 or 5 different superintendents from systems all around the state. So everybody's plan looks a little differently. Etowah County's plan is going to look different than another system. However, have worked, very closely, and conversed today in particular with Mr. Colgrove on the TALIS plan. So we're trying to work closely together, but all plans are going to look a little differently. But we're going to look at 2 options on this. So I want everyone to understand that going in. But the 23rd will be our virtual academy deadline to apply for that if parents or students are interested in that. Talk a little bit about the assessments, and I won't go into that, but in great detail unless you want me to. But then we have an asterisk here at the bottom that adjustments to the instructional delivery models will be made according to IEPs, 504 plans, or EL students, and these will be determined on a case-by-case basis. And then we're obviously working with the State Department of Education, the Alabama Department of Public Health, Etowah County Schools, also in consultation with medical professionals on all of this. So that's, in a nutshell, our academic side. Now, we will have some more details that we're going to kind of roll out as we move along. And I'm going to ask some of our folks that worked on this. Y'all have anything y'all want to add to what I said? Anything I missed or add to, take away from, or misstated?
Of those 10% early responders that wanted virtual, is there a specific age range? It's most of them, or is it areas of our county, or is it just all over the map?
Ms. Howell, you broke it down.
All over the map. I recall most that were returning to school was at Southside Elementary, but every school is about the same. They have about the same number of traditional and 11% virtual at every school. 10 to 11% of the students at every school are not willing to do virtual. It's 30% of undecided.
You said Southside E had the most wanting
to go back to traditional.
Just to come back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Are you anticipating, and I know it's hard to do, with the latest developments, that the ones opting out for virtual school is going to increase?
I don't know. I think a lot of our parents, the 30%, are just waiting to see before we give out the 2 options, and then I think they'll decide. I think once we send out the next survey that they can choose, we'll have more definite, where we can really pinpoint down to how many. Most other school systems that we've talked to are the same. 11% overall is about how many for virtual. Most other school systems.
Do we know on those 10 or 11% in each school district, how many of those will have issues with internet? That's what I think with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a question that was asked on that. So the parents were able to answer that, and then I filtered it down. And I gave every school their information, so every principal has access to that information. The survey will close tomorrow night, so then I'll give them the additional information last week. So they should have all that information, and they'll know by child's name who needs, internet access or who needs a Chromebook, so they have that.
And our plan, obviously, is to provide Chromebooks to every child, regardless that needs one, and we'll be able to check those out. We're also purchasing about 150 hotspots as well that will be available.
We're still on target for Chromebooks coming.
All right, it'll be that week before school starts.
So that's, in a nutshell, the academic side of things. Okay, and we've got about how many pages is the other plan?
It's 40 maybe.
40-something pages is our larger plan. That'll be an internal document, and then we'll push that out more with a parent guide with that a little later. But this sort of just gives.
You can read that to us next
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, next page here deals with the traditional schooling, and it's cleanliness and hygiene. And these are some things that we're going to do as we move along here in the regular school setting. Daily cleaning, disinfecting classrooms, restrooms, common areas. We're getting enough, supplies, equipment to be able to do those things. Hand washing, hygiene routines, hand sanitizer, et cetera. We have met with a provider today that can provide us with hand sanitizer throughout our schools, and can also refill those and service those as needed without our people having to refill and all that. In other words, we don't think the supply chain will be broken on that. So that will give us a consistency on that. And then, like I said, these are just bullet points on here, so it's not as in-depth as what we will have. Facial coverings for employees will follow Governor Ivey's health order, and it's item 13C in the health order. And I did have that pulled up, but I don't. But anyway, I can do that if you want me to. But it basically, I got it here. We'll follow this. Facial coverings. Each employee shall, to the greatest extent practical, wear a mask or other facial covering that covers his or her nostrils and mouth at all times when in regular interaction within 6 feet of a person from a different household. And that's straight out of, Ms. Turnbach and I discussed that. That is straight out of the governor's order. So we will follow that. And then we go on to say that we highly recommend that students wear facial coverings as practical and feasible. Again, borrowing language from this document here as well. So I'm entertaining any thoughts that you might have on that.
Not necessarily on that, but the daily cleaning and disinfecting of the classrooms. I mean, do we have people lined up for that, or will teachers be responsible for their own? Have we worked all that out yet?
Well, we've talked with our principals about their custodial staffs, and we've have products that will be able to hopefully be sprayed without being wiped down and all that. So, we talked about adjusting some hours of our custodial staff in order to make sure that's carried out. Now, teachers will have some supplies to do some things that we plan on having them supplies to do some things, but we hope to be able to do that through our custodial staff.
Hire additional custodial staff.
That's not out of the question. We've not done that or that yet, but that's certainly not out of the question. Okay. All right. We go into a point here on social distancing. We talk about social distancing protocols, line spacing, staggered class change, which we talked about with our principals, hall movements, etc. Talked about alternate classroom seating arrangements, as far as how we're doing desk and all of that and facing things. Also, third bullet point here, suspending assemblies and large gatherings during the school day. That's another thing that we want to do. One of the issues I think that we're going to have, we talk with principals about, is morning, especially in mornings when everyone's in a gym or in a lunchroom or whatever. We're going to have to cut that down, and our principals are coming up with plans so that those students that come in early, they're not in one common area, they're in a classroom, or they're in an area where we don't have as many of. We're going to need more supervision for that. So I'm still working through that with our principals about how we're going to do that, because we certainly don't need to have just a lot of people in one particular space. And school breakfast is another thing, Laura, that you and I have talked about some different ways to do that as well. And I'll get into the CNP part in a second. On the transportation part, trying to seat students with members of the same household, staggered bus loading and unloading, and going to sanitize our school buses twice following morning and afternoon routes. So we have the supplies on our buses to be able to do that, and that's actually something we were doing right prior to school dismissing. The CNP program, looking at a curbside pickup for virtual students is a possibility. And then students choosing a traditional plan will be served meals in takeout style containers, which is something Ms. Parker's working on. Meals will be served cafeteria classrooms, or a combination of both, again, to try to reduce our capacity in lunchrooms. And you see that in the next bullet point, decrease the capacity by 50%, and then try to have as much distance as we can. Our parent guardian, try to have as many in-person or virtual parent conferences as possible. And then check-in, check-outs. On this, we're saying one parent or guardian allowed inside. We are going to try with the schools that have the capability, and the ones that we can add some capabilities to, where if they have a camera outside, parent comes up to that camera, states with intercom, states their name, shows their driver license, ID, et cetera, then signs the student out and potentially would not even have to come in the building. And that's something that we got a few schools without that capability, but we're going to work to get that, so that would be a possibility. But certainly we don't want congregating inside. And then the last bullet point there, visitor access will be extremely limited. So we want to cut that down as much as possible. Our parent guardian responsibilities, monitor the child's temperature every morning. Student's temperature is 100.4 higher, should stay at home, and that is in consultation with our nursing staff and some medical people as well, and that's off of the CDC guidelines as well. Monitor for COVID-19 symptoms, and I'm going to take the symptoms off here because the symptoms have been added since since we did this. If you got added this weekend, I'm told. Just say symptoms in general, and then obviously teaching proper hand washing, etc., and all that. And then the last point here, which is very important, we want one point of contact if we have a positive test or exposure or whatever, to notify the local school principal directly. If there is a student exposed to COVID-19, students tested positive, or a household member test positive. That way we have one gatekeeper in our schools that knows, and it's not just they can be our gatekeeper. So they need to notify the school principal. And then our last point here, these guidelines will be all followed as practical and as feasible. We're going to make it as normal as we can, but we're also going to do everything we can that's in a practical and feasible way to be as safe as we possibly can. Now, this is, like I say, just scratching the surface. Hopefully release this tomorrow. I'm going to probably do a video as well to explain some things, which I'm looking forward to that. And then also we'll release a more in-depth version, hopefully by the end of the week, that our schools can see. And we've got a Q&A on that as well. So our plan will look a little different than other systems. There's a variety of ways to do some things, and I've gotten a variety of people with inputs on, should we require this, should we require that. So, this is our plan as of July the 7th. I believe that's today's date. And then it will very possibly change again in the next few weeks.
What are most people trying to do? Say a child sick with COVID, or maybe a parent is. The protocol to come back. Have we hammered that out? Is that something?
The protocol to come back, and that will be in our larger document, will be actually the state plan actually says a doctor's note is what it says, which would be, to me, a negative test is what that would be. But it actually, I believe, says a doctor's note after that period of time. And to say this, another thing that we actually did not address here is with transportation, we're obviously encouraging our students to wear masks, but we're going to have to look at, what limitations and what requirements we would have on a school bus that would be over and above these. And that's still something I talked with another superintendent about this morning, and another system that we've not totally nailed down yet on exactly what the requirement will be. But we do plan to have a supply of masks on the school bus for students that might not have a mask. And we're going to buy more masks as well for the schools. Also, some of our county commissioners are going to provide some masks for our employees as well. I've talked with 2 of our county commissioners about that. So we should have a good supply of facial coverings for those that need those. I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Every change you
This is therefore you can keep it simple.
Well, I want to keep it. I agree. Thank you all. This is pretty simplistic, but again, it's going to change over the next few weeks, and we're going to make those changes as we need to make those changes. But I plan to hopefully get this out tomorrow. I spoke with Mr. Colgrove. He's going to release part of theirs tomorrow in Atala. So, we're, trying to work together as best we can there. And I want to say this publicly. I appreciate Atala City and Mr. Colgrove's cooperation. And they have, he and I have talked actually 3 times today about things.
Is there anything major difference in theirs and ours? Or
I saw theirs today. I didn't look at everything. They've got a few things in there, but nothing that just sticks out. Y'all, some of y'all had an opportunity to look at that. I didn't.
Their quick sheet is a little bit more in depth and has additional information on it, but their additional information they have on their quick sheet is in our bigger plan. And we were trying to make it as simple and easy to read as possible. And then the larger plan would have more specific detail.
No.
So that's the biggest difference that I noticed. But as far as option of virtual, and I think their terminology is different, but I think, because I think they use the word remote or, what was the word they were, where we say virtual academy, they say remote learning. So, so the terminology is different, but if you start reading the characteristics of each one, they are similar. We're just calling it 2 different things. If that makes it easy.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? If you see anything, I'm not going to ask unless you want me to. I'm not going to ask for a board vote on this. I'm just going to ask that hopefully you have a consensus at least. I'm not saying we all agree on it, but we have a consensus. But I'm not going to call for a vote on it unless you just want me to. But I want to just inform you of it, and then we'll start rolling it out as we move along. And if you see some wording I need to change in here, it's not finalized. We can change a word or two, or clarify something if we need to.
This will go out tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. That's my plan, to put that out tomorrow and get that part of it going. And then, like I say, we're still building the plane. And we're gaining altitude, but we're building it. Okay. And that's all I have. That's all I have. Okay. Well, thank you. I need to see if we can do a call board meeting for the 21st to basically handle some more personnel, try to get everybody in place. So if y'all can do that, 5 p.m. seems to work good. We got an administrators meeting that day, so probably the later the better. So 5 p.m. if that works for y'all. Okay. Mr. Payne, are you okay with a 5 p.m. on the 21st?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right.
We're still meeting the 16th.
Yes, we have a work session on the 16th at 9 a.m. Currently, that work session will be here. I've not been able to get another venue, but yes, 9 a.m. on July the 16th.
I have leg surgery on the 20th.
Okay. We'll still be virtual if you want to join us.
Well, I still do that.
Okay. And I think we can stay with the virtual meetings, I think, through August, because I think the governor's order has been extended, I think, all the way through August, I believe. So we'll do it as long as y'all want it, as long as it's practical and feasible. I've been saying that a lot lately. Okay, that's all I have on that end. I want to take a moment, if I can, to introduce to you the number one, he's a good guy. Let me say that. He's just a good guy. Chris Melton's our new principal at Gaston Elementary, and I am thankful for Chris. Chris has been assistant principal at Southside Elementary for about 8 years now and has done a good job. He works quietly, but he works very effectively, and I appreciate him. He has his better half here, Jessica, who I normally see once a year at the eye doctor. So she puts up with him. So Chris, congratulations. Okay. So glad to have you at Gaston. So you got to have a speech. What do you want to say?
Thank y'all for this.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Before we go, we got some good work.
They're getting a great principal, named Chris. He's done a phenomenal job at our school for a long time. And I'm excited for you.
Congratulations. And that's,
More comments?
Well, I'd like to say the same thing about Mr. Melton. I have two of my grandchildren. One is still at Southside Elementary School. All through the school, and I've served him over the years, and like Dr. Hines, quiet, but he's always there and always working and always busy. And I think Gaston is getting a good principal, and I look forward to seeing the progress up there. And it's going to be a good school. And we started that last year. Last
2 years ago. It's going in year 3.
It's a good place, and you're going to enjoy it and do good. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you, Dr. Cosby and your staff for the work you've done getting us ready to start back school. It looks like a good plan to me.
Well, there's a lot more work to be done, but I think our central office staff's been great. Our principals have been great. Our teachers, employees, we're fixing to go into a very tough year, but I've got confidence that we're going to go into it and do well. And we're going to have to react to a lot of things, but we've got a great staff to be able to do that.
There's no question this will change many times between now and August 11th.
Just got to stay calm and keep
See, some of these other systems, changing their dates, like I've seen 2 systems today, they changed to like the 16th and to the 18th. I don't see that's going to do anything. I don't understand a week. What's a week on? You know,
Just watch and see what everybody else does.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew we could get rid of the virus in a week. We put it off.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't see that a week or 2 weeks is going to make any difference whatsoever.
Well, I spoke with the superintendent yesterday that pushed their date in this particular system back about a week, I think, and they're going to have a few more teacher in-service days on the front end, which that's not a bad thing at all. It's not. However, still remaining on a 180-day schedule, they have no holidays throughout the year. Now, I'm thinking way ahead here. If we make it to Thanksgiving, which I'm confident we will, I think we need all Thanksgiving week out, more than likely. You know, so if we move days back, you know, we run the risk of losing some days, you know, like then and some other points throughout the year. And I think we're gonna need those depending on what happens.
Chris, I'll finish it out. Congratulations on the new position. I know you do well there. I agree. I think it's going to be one of the most challenging times in the school history for the school system to function all year amid this pandemic virus and how to handle it. I have extreme confidence in Dr. Cosby and our staff to make it all work as well as anybody can. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coffee won't get bored, will it?
No. I'll entertain motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
What's the 48 million together?
That's all right.
Well,
Department of Education.
Long as we get it done.
hang on, let me get off here.
I know everything's going